Hey everybody, I'm Robert.
Hey, I'm Chris.
And we're the Film Flamers.
And we're bringing you our regular Shooting the Flames program at the beginning of June.
Happy Pride Month.
Yep, where we discuss all of your questions, comments, and we give you all our horror movie news, trailers, etc., etc.
Etc. It is a grab bag of options. A veritable buffet of content, if you will. Well, Chris, do you want to have a brief conversation about the latest school shooting down here in Texas?
Not really.
I don't really either. I mean...
I've just been feeling so cynical about this country. I mean, I just feel like it's dying and doesn't know it, or it's already dead and doesn't know it. It's like in a death throes, and it's like everything's so polarized. We can't even agree to keep children alive. We've just had this whole abortion thing in the Supreme Court, and it's just like more like with the whole baby formula shortage and Republicans like not doing anything about that or not signing on for anything, and then like with the guns and all the kids dying, it's like guns deaths or something like the leading cause of child deaths in America right now.
Oh my God.
More children have died from gunshots than policemen so far in 2022. I mean, it's crazy, and it's just so transparent now that Republicans basically are pro-birth, they're not pro-life, right? That's it. Because once you're born, you're done.
I mean,
and I don't want to super over politicize this because, I mean, we have this system where everyone's just saying, well, this is what we would do. And then they don't try and actually work together to find the common ground of what we can agree on. What's the problem we're trying to solve? Less dead children. Okay. Let's try and go about that in whatever way we can agree on. But that's not happening. And then the best politicians that we have are opportunists, political opportunists. I'm a Beto fan generally, but like when he goes up in front of and interrupts like a news conference to do a political stunt, it doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. I'm just a Democrat, you know what I mean? And so I will vote for someone who's not a Republican, usually, right? I super don't like Greg Abbott, though. Like, he's been on my fucking shit list since God was a boy. I don't know.
Governor of Texas, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Not everyone's from Texas, but I'm sure that, I mean, he's on the national stage a lot or whatever.
When the sanest person in the conversation is Matthew McConaughey, your country's fucked.
Oh my God.
All right.
God bless America. But no, I'm with you. Like, I mean, as more news of this and like more parts of the story start coming out, I get angrier and angrier. And I'm like, enough is enough, really. And I agree with your sentiment. Like, protecting children should be the number one thing. You know what I mean?
Like table stakes for a country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't understand why there's even a conversation about this. No one's trying to take away anyone's guns, but like this kid who did this just turned 18 and he was able to buy all these guns legally. You know what I mean? And that's fucking ridiculous. No 18-year-old should be able to do that.
Well, it's in our Constitution, right? It's just we have to kind of decide, like, we're not allowing people to, buy nuclear weapons or grenades or RPGs or things like that. Like these are military grade weapons. You would argue that AR-15, like, what is that line? We have to decide what that line is for assault rifles. We have data that shows that, once the assault rifle ban or assault gun ban was lifted, these things got more and more and more common, right? We have that dot graph. And I feel like the expanded magazines, all these are like no brainers, right?
Yeah.
Like what's good for home protection, what's good for hunting, and then outside of that, like what's really meant for fucking militarized killing, and let's take that off the streets, and because it works. I mean, that's why we're one of the only countries, if not the only country, where this happens so regularly, and it's all these arguments on the other side, like, well, we need good guys with a gun, are completely dismantled by this Uvalde case, right? Where the police would not go in because they knew the guy had 2 AR-15s or whatever, and it's like there's a lot of like funny things going around that are funny because we're cynical. I heard like, well, I guess that's why the firemen, don't have one of those fuck the firemen songs like the police do, because if there's a fire in the building, they still go in.
Yeah. Oh my God. I literally, one of my friends on Facebook posted one of those police flags that's like black and blue, right? And it says these colors don't run. And she put, unless it's into a room with an armed just like assailant or something like that. And I was like, wow, I mean, like, just saying, but sure, it's true, know? I mean, like that really pissed me off when I found out about that too. I don't know. Like the whole situation is terrible. And I feel like, and we've said it before on the podcast when we randomly talk about news or politics.
Also in Buffalo, the good guy with the gun was shot to death, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I don't know. We have to have a clear conversation, and the politicians need to start learning how to get along. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we can't make any progress.
No, this country's fucked.
For real, though. I mean,
there has to be some sort of huge tragedy or event or war or something to where there's some sort of reorganization. You know, I don't want to say like full blown like civil war or collapse or something, but I truly believe that at this point, that's what's going to happen.
I swear. I mean, I feel like some sort of civil war will possibly happen. Probably not in our lifetimes, you know what I mean? But like people on either side of the faction are going to be fed up with each other enough to where like the entire country is going to be torn apart. You know what I mean? And I'm American. That makes me sad, obviously. But
either your country's going to have to collapse or Fox News is going to have to collapse.
I mean, hopefully the latter. But I mean, it's getting to the point where like people are like, well, make sure you vote, like use your vote. And I'm like, well, I do. But I mean, is that even good at this point? You know what I mean? If someone's just going to call my vote cheating on the other side, I mean, who fucking knows? We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think we're on the downslide. And then there's monkeypox.
Apparently it's mostly gay and bi men.
Yeah.
Because we can't stop butt fucking without a condom on.
I guess so.
So this is like the new AIDS. What? Jesus Christ.
Anything a monkey can get, apparently.
What does it say about our community? And like, I don't know. So I pulled up Grindr and they had this thing pop up and it was just like some facts about monkeypox. And I was just like, they had to put it on Grindr. I was just like, that's how bad it is. Just wear a condom.
Or if you see like lesions over someone and they're like secreting pus, don't fuck them.
I know. Have some fucking boundaries or standards. Is all I'm saying. I know it's dark in the bathhouse, but still. Christ almighty.
What you're feeling on them may not be lube or soap.
Ew. What is that? Is that KY or a lesion? Okay. I can't tell the difference because my lube is also pussy.
I forgot lube. No, just use some of this.
Gross. A box on you.
A box on both your houses.
A box on both your holes. Jesus. Okay, I feel better now. A little mini tirade. We started like the actual episode. Everyone, wear a condom. Okay, guys, wear a condom.
Wrap your partners. In saran wrap.
Body condoms are a necessity.
Jesus. What were we doing? We're talking about horror movies.
Let's get into it. So we have a brand new review this month from Dave Ruff. And he titled it, Finally, an Edited Podcast. He says, I found this podcast when looking for the soundtrack for Ghost in the Darkness. It's not on Spotify, apparently, but I was so excited to find a podcast deep diving one of my favorite childhood movies. I didn't know what to expect, but I instantly fell in love. The deep dive was great, educational, and really well made. Their mics are high quality, and they actually edit their podcast. I then took a deep dive into the rest of their episodes, and each one, from Jaws to Rosemary's Baby, is fun and interesting. The fun facts and Robert's laugh, tee-hee, kept me listening, and after I ran out of episodes, I had to join their Patreon. Thank you, Dave. If you like well-made podcasts, you have to listen to The Film Flamers.
I love that. I love that it was Ghost in the Darkness, too.
I know. Actually, everything in that review are things that you've contributed to our podcast, you name it, except for my laugh. But, I mean, because that's all me. But, like, Chris is the technical one of the two of us. And so, like, he will research and find good mics. He learned how to use this editing program, like, from scratch for the most part. And it sounds great every single time he does it. And he chose Ghost in the Darkness for us to deep dive into. So, thank you, Dave and Chris, for that review.
Well, it's fun to go back to those like forgotten gems, you know, that seem more horror adjacent than remembering, and then going into Ghost in the Darkness and learning all that real life stuff behind it. And just that's part of why we do the podcast, is to like have those like moments of, oh my God, you know. So I love that was actually attractive to someone and made them join us as a patron too. So,
and I feel like that was the first time I watched Ghost in the Darkness.
Mayhaps.
I think so. Anyway.
Yeah, I think you had passed over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and listen to your story, but
I think my father loves that movie, so he was super excited when we did it, but he didn't listen to the episode, so whatever. Thanks for the review, Dave. And guys, we love getting these reviews. So if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, head over there and give us a 5-star rating and tell us why you like us, and we're going to read that on our next Shooting the Flames.
That's right. And of course you can review us anywhere else as well, but that's where
podcasts live and die.
Live and die.
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. I mean, because I would say the majority of people and the majority of our listens come from Apple devices. So I'm holding one in my lap right now.
Well, I'm an Android guy, but I still have iTunes on my computer.
It's true.
That's how we reviewed ourselves. 1 star.
I know. These guys.
I hate Robert's laugh.
Robert sounds like a fucking buffoon.
From our deep dive into Drop Dead Gorgeous, Sean over on Patreon, in response to Bennett, said, "Shit, I'm listening now, and Bennett beat me to it. His furniture is as fake as my orgasms." His furniture is as fake as my orgasms.
Is that a quote from that movie?
Yes. She goes crazy at the end after her daughter dies in the Swan.
Oh, that's right.
And she's talking to the crowd, and he's like, "Calm down, baby." And you're like, "He's fake. His furniture is as fake as my orgasms."
Oh, I still love that movie. I'm glad we talked about it, and I'm glad we're still getting some comments on it too.
Yeah.
From our Shooting the Flames last month in May, Kimberly over on Patreon said, "Hearing myself speak is uncomfortable. Hearing myself speak in an over-the-top Midwest accent was sheer torture."
And mayhaps that's part of the reason why we have no voicemails this month.
Kimberly, we know you took a break from the voicemails this month, and I hope that's not the reason why. So, I mean, it took me a long time to get used to hearing myself on a podcast too, but I mean, it'll happen. Keep up with the voicemails. Any accent you want. We love them.
Yeah. And that goes for everyone else too. Bennett over on Patreon said, "I have lots of bullet points to make on the countless subjects covered in this episode, but I'll try to keep them concise." So for number 1, as far as ambiguity goes with the so-called Don't Say Gay bill in Florida, I had heard that Florida Democrats responded by trying to add an amendment banning any sex talk in K through 3rd grade classrooms. Republicans killed the amendment, ultimately showing that what they really wanted to do is shield their children, and I mean their children, from any talk of gender and sexuality outside of heterosexual norms. Or so critics argue. So I'm not sure about the inner workings of how these laws were passed, but I read the law that it was actually on the table, and it just seems so all encompassing that it could go both ways. But if there was amendments that they shut down, then that would be interesting. But and it's easily believed.
Yeah, I'm sure that. I mean, we talked about all this, I think, last time too. But I mean, I don't know. The entire thing is stupid to me. 2. I was wondering if Chris would feel vindicated by Netflix stock losses. I was going to mention it earlier, but it sounds like you covered it here.
Yep. I definitely feel vindicated. 3. As far as this year's Oscars go, I was okay but thrilled with Coda winning Best Picture. It's a very conventional story, just told in a different way, but it was nice to see a little Sundance movie coming seemingly out of nowhere and end up winning the day for once. Although I would argue that the year before was also kind of a Sundance movie that won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was still rooting for The Power of the Dog, the incoming front runner, but since it featured a gay cowboy, I wasn't getting my hopes up. We know how those go with the Oscars. Well, this one was better than the other one.
Yes, Power of the Dog is much better than Brokeback Mountain, in my opinion.
Same.
And I feel like that movie had a clear shot to win Best Picture. You know what I mean? Coda just came for the upset. Really.
Sure.
But we have talked about the Oscars ad nauseum. And I guess we're going to continue. Number 4. Am I the only person who liked the format of last year's Oscars? Yes. Steven Soderbergh produced that telecast, and I liked the cinematic aesthetic he went for, as well as the more intimate setting at Union Station. But guess I'm alone on this one.
I don't even remember.
I will take any Oscars telecast. That's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I want to watch it regardless, but it was kind of boring. You know what I mean? I liked the intimate quality, and I really liked the cinematic way that they did it. Like they did all the awards in the order that a movie would be made, sort of, which was kind of neat. But, I kind of missed the big to-do of Oscars, and it was just too small for that.
Yeah. Number 5, and finally, I was one of the 100,000 people or so who subscribed to CNN Plus. Later, I got an email saying I was getting my money back, but considering I took up their special deal of $2.99 a month for life, sounded great at the time, I'm not holding my breath for that refund, although nobody mentioned that special in their coverage of it, so guess they had poor advertising as well. R.I.P. Chris Wallace's new gig. Poor guy tried to get his soul back after so many years at Fox News, and look how he's repaid.
I know.
Yeah, that sucks. And Megyn Kelly, too.
Right.
Of course, Megyn Kelly's kind of a bullshit person, but
I was pretty excited for Chris Wallace, though, because I like Chris Wallace.
Yeah.
And so I was just I'm glad that he's regaining conscious or something like that by going there. But, oh well. Try next time, I guess.
I'm sure they'll have him as a talking head. You know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a place for him on CNN.
Yeah.
Bennet followed up by saying, sorry for that long-ass comment from earlier. I obviously need a better editor.
Well, that's fine. You gave us 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s and 5s.
Of comments.
So it's easy to...
that's right.
Well, he numbered them, so it was easy to break them up. Yeah, I didn't put those numbers there. That was him.
Oh, I don't think you need a better editor.
I just formatted it in bullets. So I guess I am your editor.
Keep it coming. Chris will keep you on your toes.
Yep. Nikki over on Twitter said, I can't wait to listen. We've been working our way through The Walking Dead from the beginning, so I've been MIA, but I'm back.
Yay. Welcome back, Nikki. You need to call in and tell us what you're thinking about Walking Dead. I stopped watching several years ago, and once it ends, I'm kind of curious to finish it up.
I thought it did, and they had a remake, or not a remake, but an offshoot show that was
two spinoffs now.
2?
Yeah, and there's movies coming out.
What's the other one called? Like The Running Dead or something? the briskly jogging dead?
The dead that lists lazily to the left. It's called Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay.
And the other one's a prequel, and I don't know what it's called because I just really lost interest in that show.
Yeah.
Fembot18 over on Instagram said, Pikeline. Like Chris, I'm a huge Christopher Pike fan and Mike Flanagan fan. So every time you bring this up, my hair curls, my blossom lifts, and my ass tightens.
My blossom lifts? I don't understand.
And then she's talking about her vagina.
Oh. Mine too. Fembot18.
Clearly, I mean, I don't have as much history of Christopher Pike as my co-host does, but the things that I have read, I like, and I love Mike Flanagan.
Yeah,
so.
my bussy is super excited for this.
Your pussy's tightening? Oh, Pikeline.
Well, actually, we're going to get our first look, I believe, in June of the Midnight Society on Netflix. So...
yeah, I'm super excited for that. Well, anytime Mike Flanagan's name's attached to something.
Yeah, but I think he's like executive producing it or show running or something like off because he's been doing his own thing. He's like back to back filming his own stuff. Right now it's Fall of the House of Usher, right? And before that, you know, it was the Island one that we just watched that was so good.
Midnight Mass.
And I don't think he's had time to actually direct anything for this show. So I'm wondering, hopefully that he put up a good team together.
I mean, even the episodes
a better one than Bly Manor, hopefully.
Even the ones that he doesn't like direct fully, I mean, I think he still has his finger in that pie.
Honestly, if it's the quality of Bly Manor for Midnight Society, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
You know,
but also, I mean, the source material is very different. So
yeah, you never read Midnight Society. It's it's one of his very few, if not only, anthologies. Essentially, it's bookended by the story of these sick kids, like terminal cancer kids, teenagers. And they come at midnight and break out. Some of them are in wheelchairs and they all talk like really macabre, dark, dead like stories. Oh, you know, and they're dying off one by one. And there's new people being brought into the Midnight Society. And they're literally, it's like, of course, you never saw that Nickelodeon show either.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's like that, but it's more adult. So some of the stories are freaking dark.
I feel really bad about my childhood sometimes because I skipped over anything remotely YA, you know, and went straight into like Stephen King and some hardcore shit.
He kind of bled into adult, and he has some adult books. In fact, I gave you Season of Passage,
which I loved. I thought that book was great, and I'm so like, I don't know how in the world they're going to make that movie, but I'm here for it.
It's got to be a series or some sort of trilogy or something.
I mean, I'm hoping for something a little bit more like in the theater from Mike Flanagan. It's great. I know he has this Netflix deal and whatnot. Perfect. It's easily accessible, but there's something special about seeing some sort of like Mike Flanagan epic on a big screen. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. So, I can't see how they could possibly do that in 1 hour without destroying the story somewhat.
No, they'd have to make multiple movies.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
From our deep dive into Eyes Wide Shut, George from Patreon said, I thought you guys would have brought up the trailer using Chris Isaak's Baby Did a Bad, Bad Thing. I can't hear that song without thinking about this movie, which is odd because it's such an unusual contrast. Yeah, that song was not used in the movie. It was used in the trailer.
I thought they played
one of the trailers
briefly.
Okay, so there were two different trailers. One was more talky, and one had "Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing" or whatever by Chris Isaak. And I had to choose the one that was more talky for our podcast, obviously.
Which I thought was I think I commented on that when I was listening to it too, or I sent you a text, and I was like, "What an odd trailer for this movie!" It was just something about the background music in that trailer that we used, and I was just like, they make it sound like some sort of like comedy. I don't know, weird.
Yeah, that's why it's part of our discussion about how they promoted the film.
So I also really like that song, though. I love Chris Isaak. And once I hear that song, it's stuck in my head for days. Bennett over on Patreon said, I was middle school aged when this film came out. Good God, really? I had graduated high school. So it took me several years before I got the nerve to watch it. However, I watched Entertainment Tonight quite a bit at that time. And boy, were they determined to sneak in that famous clip of Cruz and Kidman standing naked in front of a mirror every chance they got. They made sure to show it at least 10 seconds almost every single night for months on end. They were determined to jam it into my teenage mind, but for better or worse, it worked.
Yeah. Why are you so surprised that he was in middle school?
I don't know. It just makes me feel old.
I mean, people that were born after this movie came out are driving and drinking legally. So,
I know. I just I constantly reminded some days that I'm 42 years old. Like anytime I bring a new staff member in at work and I have to ask for their birth date before I can get them into our system, and they're like 2007. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like, really?
Oh, Jesus Christ. From our hot takes last month, BattleBurrito from Patreon said, I literally cannot remember the last time I enjoyed a movie as much as Everything All Everywhere All at Once.
Agreed.
Yes.
Fully. Mm-hmm. Nicole over on Patreon said, Lair of the White Worm. I definitely never watched that on drugs in high school ever.
I guess I need to add that to my list.
I think you did last time we were talking about it.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. And Nicole, I definitely had a gummy when I watched it, and I'm so glad that I did. So please, this movie should not be watched sober.
From our deep dive into Fallen, which I think we did back in 2020.
That was our first season. That was our September movie. So right after our first year anniversary.
Oh, wow. Okay. Best Girl over on YouTube said, I like how this is similar to Real Life Case, the Christopher Dorner case. I never looked much into predictive programming, too many, and don't know where to start with that subject. This definitely has got to be one of those types of things, though, I guess. Anyway, Denzel Washington is so dope, lols.
He is dope. I like Denzel Washington. Who's Christopher Dorner?
I don't know. I thought you might know because you're into true crime.
I don't know, but I want to look it up.
But I don't know what she means by predictive programming.
I don't either. But I do think that Denzel Washington is dope.
I do too. And I'm super glad we're getting comments on YouTube, and I'm super, super glad we're getting comments on our older deep dives.
That's right. People keep looking at... You chose that one too. We just choose bad movies for the podcast.
There's nothing wrong with Night of the Comet.
Not at all.
That one choice was good.
So we have some questions and miscellaneous stuff. Nikki, who's back over on Twitter, sent a picture of a French copy of Alien, and she says, I just came back from Paris and I was so tempted to buy this at the Port de Vence flea market. What a great way to test my French that would have been. Alas, I left it there and I'm still mad about it. I'm mad about it too, Nikki. Yeah. Also, I want to know what your French sounds like. That's amazing. And I hope you love Paris because I think it's fantastic. And the fucking tagline for Alien in French is the only way I'll say it now. Dans l'espace, personne ne veut entendre crier.
What does that translate to?
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Oh, so, okay, translated well. I think I have an original copy, a first printing.
Really?
Yeah. I think my dad has it. Jesse Kraft from Instagram, in response to a posted review, said, agreed. Your podcast is hands down the best horror podcast. And I've tried to listen to a lot out there. They just don't compare. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse Kraft. George over on Patreon says, who has seen the new movie X and what did you think about it?
I have not, but you have.
That's right. And we talked about it on our last Hot Takes episode.
Yeah, it's like one of the top things on my list.
I want to watch it with you.
The things are coming out now. It's summer season, and I'm not going to end up watching it until I'm doing catch up because we've got so many things dropping, all these new horror TV shows and movies. So, I mean, just in the next 7 days, we're going to be watching 14 movies at the film festival. So it's going to have to wait.
No, it can't. It shan't wait. No, it will. Wait till it's not $20 to...
We're not watching it tonight with your husband.
No, we're not.
It doesn't seem like a husband type of movie.
But I'll be over here on Tuesday.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's really, really good, George. I mean, in response to your question, I think that it's a fantastic movie so far. It's my number one horror movie of 2022. But to be fair, I haven't seen that many new ones. So
yeah, but if you want to hear his whole diatribe about it, then you can go listen to our hot takes.
Because I talked about it at length.
Yep. Bennet from an email said, "Hey, Tired Queens, there are a couple of horror films available on Shudder now that I would wonder if you've seen before. The first is Ken Russell's The Devils, a psychedelic horror historical drama based on the Devils of Loudon." Oh, okay. So I was trying to add this to my list in Letterboxd, and I was searching for The Devils of Loudon, but it's actually called The Devils. Okay. Starring Oliver Reed, who's always good, and Vanessa Redgrave, who's also always good.
Amen.
I saw this in college and, of course, on film censorship. And let me tell you, if you haven't seen it, you're in for a fucking wild ride, an extremely sacrilegious ride. The second is Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, a campy horror melodrama with a cute boy and a female psycho bitty performance that deserves more attention. Ryan Murphy must have seen this multiple times since the story itself would definitely fit as a subplot of American Horror Story.
I have not seen either one of these movies.
I want to watch the Oliver Reed one.
I mean, I also would like to watch The Devils, but I really, really want to watch Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker because, like, every fucking gay horror fan in the world that I know just fucking loves this movie. There must be something about it that just draws in the gay boys.
Well, I've added both to my Letterboxd watch list, so.
Yes, we're going to watch them. We'll report back, Bennett. Promise. Kimberly, over on Patreon, said, "I've been doing catch up on horror movies, and here are my hot takes." First up, she says, Sinister. Meh. I didn't find Mr. Boogie scary in the slightest, and Ethan Hawke always sounds like he needs to cough up a loogie.
Yeah, I actually was very scared in Sinister for the first like half, and then it just kind of collapses for me.
When that boy comes out of that fucking cardboard box, shit.
It's the pictures that do it for me, and then like seeing him outside of the picture, like looking up outside the window, and he's in the bushes.
Well, those fucking snuff films are scary too. I think Sinister's a scary movie. Kimberly, I think you need to watch it one more time.
Yeah. The Unholy, big letdown. We kind of agree, yeah.
I've only seen the first 20 minutes. I still haven't finished it.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I bought it, though.
I like how it expands. It gets bigger, you know, but it's just kind of run of the mill.
Yeah, I mean, it must be a reason why I haven't run back to it. I don't know. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. Yes, I know they're 20 years old.
Who cares?
Gory and ridiculous, and I loved every minute.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 are great. They're fun.
I haven't seen 2.
A lot of fun. You've never seen 2?
No, I've never seen 2. I've only seen 1.
Okay. 2 is really good. It's we've been told about 2 several times by commenters.
I know.
Talk about how like gay.
Because there's lots of shirtless boys and shit, right?
Well, I mean, there's also like a kind of a gay subplot a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, really subfloor.
Really sub, like not alpha?
Yeah.
Malignant. I wanted to like it. It was a bit cheesy, and my inner science nerd was not happy with the whole conjoined twin thing. Spoiler alert. Boy and girl twins cannot be identical and therefore can't be conjoined. Anywho, well, that just ruined the movie for me. Not really. I love this movie.
It's supposed to be cheesy by design.
Yeah, I thought this movie was.
So if you know that going in is better, it was better than my second watch because I was like having fun with it.
Yeah.
But it does kind of have that uneven tone a little bit. So I can see why some people would be like, pick a tone. You know what I mean?
I feel like Malignant was like my third favorite horror movie last year. I really, really loved it.
Yeah. But I can see where she's coming from is what I'm trying to say.
True.
Annihilation, a bit more cerebral than I thought it would be, but overall I loved it. The bear scene gave me chills. Exactly.
That bear scene is scary as fuck.
Yeah, it's one of the scariest movie monsters ever.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, loved every minute, and Baby Marshmallows Running Amok was comedy gold, especially when they started turning each other into s'mores.
I mean, I'd see a clip. I've seen that in the trailer, though, a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't watched this movie yet. I want to.
I was never a huge Ghostbusters fan. I like the first movie and the second movie. I guess that's all of them. And I actually watched the cartoon when I was a kid.
I did too.
But I this whole nostalgia bring back thing,
Yeah, I mean, if it's done well, then sure. You know what I mean? But like, I was really excited for that movie until I saw a trailer, and then I was less so. But I do want to watch it.
Yeah. Horror Adjacent, SVU. Rebringing this and Mariska Hargitay as a goddess. I've never seen SVU.
Me either.
It's not really up my alley.
No. I mean, I like procedurals, but it's quite an investment, though.
I feel, what is it, like 25 seasons or some shit?
Probably. I mean, all that fucking Law and Order shit, there's like 1,001 of them. Oh, yeah. It's like watching CSI.
It's just one of those things that you can have, as a comfort blanket, throughout many, many, many years, I think.
I liked Criminal Minds. I think similar.
Mariska, though I know about her, so she's like a goddamn Amazon.
Mm-hmm. She's beautiful. We have no new patrons this month,
for shame,
which is sad.
Shame.
Where's my bell? If you want to become a patron, and obviously we think you should, Head over to patreon.com/thefilmflamer so you can check out all of our bonus episodes and join the family.
And not only will you get all of those bonus episodes, but you'll also be able to vote in polls for the bonus episodes that we actually do over there a lot of the time. And you'll get our episodes a lot earlier. Sometimes one day, sometimes 1 week, sometimes a month. I don't know. Depends on our mood.
That's right. But we have to shout out our patrons who are the Film Flamer tier or higher, and they are
Ben,
Dr. Joe,
Kimberly,
Kyle,
Lisa,
Penelope,
Walstrich.
Horror news.
There's a Winnie the Pooh horror movie in the works.
The fuck you say?
Yes, because, of course, there's a 95-year rule. Once a character is created, it enters into the general domain, right? The public domain.
Yep.
And I think in 2024, Mickey Mouse is becoming general. Yeah. So there's going to be Mickey Mouse horror. And it's going to be all kinds of shit.
Fucking Winnie the Pooh, though. I mean, yeah, because I know it entered the public domain like last year, I think. Maybe earlier. No, it had to have been last year. And so, like, I saw this headline, and have you seen any of the stills from
Yes, it's like live action, and it's like it's not a real bear. It's like
a mask.
A fucked up bear thing. Yeah. It's
a slasher movie because I've read subsequent articles about it because
it looks like someone in a Winnie the Pooh costume that looks really fucked up, like Night at Freddy's or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I mean, it's
kind of animatronic-y.
Fucking nightmare fuel looking, and like Piglet has these big tusks, right? And so essentially it's like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet go on some murderous rampage. You know what I mean?
And Tigger the Tiger's going to be played by, like, I don't know, Charlie Sheen or something.
Probably. Well, he's not on drugs anymore. He can't do that.
Just comes on screen. No!
I don't know. I mean, like, it looks stupid, but I'll watch it. Oh, I love Winnie the Pooh, though. It's like one of my favorite Disney cartoons. I don't know if I want to see him kill somebody.
Well, you already kind of have. I mean, you saw It Chapter 2.
Hello. Hello, Piglet. If he doesn't have the voice in this horror movie, it's not going to be good. No. But I mean, what I read is like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet go on a murderous rampage after Christopher Robin abandons them on his way to college. So, I mean, not a lot of thought in the screenplay, maybe, but really good way to take advantage of a character that entered the public domain.
Yeah, I guess so.
I applaud that. Mm-hmm. It's called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Stephen King has revealed on a podcast that he was on recently that he has written a new novella that is a sequel to Cujo.
And it's called Rattlesnake?
It's called Rattlesnakes. And apparently he doesn't talk about it much in that podcast. I listened to the entire conversation because I love Stephen King. And apparently at some point, like two twins, like children, fall into a snake pit and I think are killed. So, I mean, he famously ended Cujo by killing that child. You know what I mean? So I don't know how this is a sequel to Cujo if it's about snakes, but
I don't know. Maybe they have I don't know. Maybe they're foaming at the mouth.
Maybe.
What if we had snakes, but they had rabies?
I feel like that's how he comes up with his work anyway.
Netflix has added a warning card to Stranger Things season 4 after the Texas school shooting. Naturally. And I did, the only reason I added this here, because it's not really news, is because I have binged everything that I could have for Stranger Things season 4 volume 1. The next volume comes out in July, and that's just going to be 2 episodes, I think.
What?
But one of those episodes at least is going to be 2.5 hours long.
That's not a TV show. That's a fucking movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, the average length of the Stranger Things episode has been 50 minutes to an hour, like a normal, right? And this season, each episode has been like an hour and 20 minutes.
Good God.
Longer. Yeah. And they are really going down with body horror, and they've gone much harder into straight up horror than previous seasons. Not that everything so far in Stranger Things hasn't been not even horror adjacent, but horror, but kind of gateway horror in the first season, and the second season a little bit more, and the third season definitely a lot more horror. And then this one is really going down. I mean, the first episode basically opens with like a bunch of dead and bloody children, and they are not afraid to break a lot of bones in this.
Oh God, really?
Oh yeah.
Shit.
But it just made me realize, like, when did season 3 come out? And it was 2019 before I ever moved to Boston. You've had 3 years to watch these seasons.
I know.
And you haven't, but it's really good. It's really good.
Okay. I mean, I need to, I want to, I mean, I was not a fan of the first season. We've talked about this before.
I didn't know that. I thought you were okay with it.
I would have cut out like at least 3 episodes from that season. I thought that it moved way too slowly and I just was not a fan of it. Like the beginning and the end, yeah, I thought it was great. Loved the kids. You know what I mean? But like the middle part of that season, I was super bored. And so, I mean, I was bored enough.
They have the pacing issues throughout the series.
I was bored enough to not look forward to season 2.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Season 2 is worse than season 1. Season 3 is really good because it's like the Starcourt Mall. It's great. It's
and everything that I've heard and seen and heard you talk about, I feel like I would like season 3 a lot because it sounds interesting, and definitely this season. You know what I mean? I need to soldier on through season 2 and get to the good stuff. You know what I mean? So,
well, there's good stuff in season 2. There is.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I think you should watch it.
Okay, I will do that.
Anyway, but yeah, I kind of wanted to add this just because they are paying attention, trying to kind of trigger warn people at this point, and it's gotten to a point where the horror is at such a place that they need to. And so I'm kind of glad they did that, but I also wanted to take that opportunity to talk about Stranger Things season 4 because that has been kind of a void on this podcast because one of us will refuse to watch it, and we can't talk about the one of the biggest things in horror that's come out in the last 5 years. So
you could still talk about it. I mean, like, hasn't stopped you before.
Well, we can't go back and forth. We can't like vibe on it. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I'm probably more likely to watch The Boys than I am Stranger Things. So, but
season 3 is about to be dropped, and you still haven't seen season 2 of that.
Oh, I know, and I really do want to watch season 3 because it has one of my like favorite like dreamboat actors in it, like my ideal. You know what I mean? So like Jensen Ackles, and plus I hear there's an orgy in season 3 apparently. So I mean.
Yeah, there's less horror in, well, there's definitely horror in The Boys, but it's not like Stranger Things horror. It's not like 80s horror. And Robert Englund is in this season too, by the way.
Amen.
So anyway, The Boys is like hyper violent, I would say, more than it is straight up horror. But
which I'm down for too. Yeah. I really liked the first season of The Boys. Yeah. Right.
Coming soon.
We have a veritable metric shit ton of trailers to talk about this month, and we'll start off with a movie that I think looks amazing, even though I just saw the trailer today, and that's for a movie called Vengeance.
Right, and Vengeance will be out in theaters in July, and it's essentially about a guy kind of investigating a murder of his like ex-girlfriend in the small town of Texas where he's kind of fish out of water. Essentially, he's running a true crime podcast. So it kind of hits close to home, and it's kind of thriller, horror adjacent comedy, but it looks really, really funny and good.
It really does. I mean, just watching the trailer, I laughed out loud at least like 3 times. You know what I mean? It looks really well written and fun. I mean, maybe even slightly horror adjacent, like to the furthest realms of adjacency.
We don't know. Yeah, but the potential's there.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like a really fun movie. Yeah. And I mean, I'm here for it. I'm totally going to see this movie.
The next movie is Thor: Love and Thunder. The full trailer just released, and it's in theaters in July. And if they do this right, because I'm familiar with the comic story that came out about 10, 15 years ago, it's with Gore, the God Butcher. Mm-hmm. And he uses something called the All Black. And it's like this like liquidy, nasty black stuff that turns into different weapons or things like that. And he's going around killing all the gods.
That's cool.
And so it gets the most horror and horror adjacent that Thor usually gets. And he has to have like 3 different time periods of himself as like an old man, a boy, and his, you know, regular adult self to go and like fight this guy all at once in order to beat him. And all these other gods are already dead. Like every other god in the universe is dead because he's killed them all. And so it could be really bad. You know, we'll just have to see, because this is not really, you know, a director that does those types of stories.
Is it the same director as Ragnarok?
Yeah. So it's going to be slapstick, you know, which is, you know, great for audiences, less great for the comic book fans.
Yeah, I really, really loved Ragnarok, though. I thought
it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Either way.
I mean,
but
I'm here for it.
From what I've seen of Christian Bale, you know, it doesn't really look like Gore, but whatever.
It looks a lot like Christian Bale, though.
Yeah. Probably in his contract, you know.
Well, he can't like anything.
It's supposed to look more like Voldemort, just like a really wide mouth that goes almost to his ears.
Oh, it looks nothing like that.
No.
And also, Natalie Portman in that fucking helmet mask thing looks stupid.
Jesus.
Sorry. I'm just like, I don't understand. I know that's what the character's supposed to look like or whatever, because I kind of remember seeing something like that in comic book form. But
well, I, for one, am a feminist, and I support Natalie Portman and all of her Thorness.
Okay, but don't make me sound like terrible on the podcast or anything. But I mean, like, I support Natalie Portman. I just support that. I don't support that costume choice, and it wasn't her decision. If I were Natalie Portman, I'd don't put me in that. I have a pretty face. I mean, that doesn't sound very feminist. Wow. That sounds awful, actually. Wow. Let's move on.
You're a horrible, horrible person.
to Resident Evil, a Netflix series that's debuting in July.
It looks promising.
It does. It looks different. It looks a lot different than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's not just some sort of rehash of every other movie that it's come out, right?
Yeah.
You know, it seems like something new and apocalyptic and really cool.
Yeah, it looks like they're keeping a lot of it close to the chest. Maybe some of the game people would understand it. Maybe it's closer to the game. I don't know.
I have no idea.
But it looks promising.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I mean, we'll check it out maybe.
Yeah. Next up is 3,000 Years of Longing by, of course, George Miller, who is one of the most interesting directors out there, having done things like Happy Feet and Mad Max Fury Road. And it's giving me kind of everything everywhere all at once vibes, but maybe less like meaningful, you know what I mean? But more aesthetic. You know, it's got Tilda Swinton in it. It's got Idris Elba. It looks super batshit. Like you need to have a gummy before you watch this movie. But
oh yeah,
the trailer is definitely worth watching.
I am super interested in this movie. I think it looks great, and since I love Tilda Swinton now, and I never used to before, like I'm super on board with it. George Miller makes really good movies. I haven't seen Happy Feet, but
yeah, I've seen Mad Max Fury Road. It was one of the best action films of the decade. You know what I mean? But I do want to say, like, this is about Tilda Swinton finds like a lamp, right? And Idris Elba's a genie, right? And she's like looking at all his past, you know, wish grants throughout time, thousands and thousands of years. So it's like just a bunch of clips from a bunch of different cultures, ancient societies, a bunch of like monsters and weird shit going on, and spells and special effects extravaganza, psychedelic interestingness. So I'm just ready for it.
And I kind of feel like there may be some meaning to it, just like, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once does. Yeah. I mean, I feel like
it does look like that's there.
Yeah, I feel like that her character has some ways to like delve into that.
Maybe not like an answer to fucking nihilism, like Everything Everywhere All at Once is. You know what I mean?
But definitely, if the whole point is like, you know, what wishes do I choose? How does one choose a wish? It's introspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can totally see that in this movie. And it looks like something that you need to see in the theater, and you need to have a whole gummy. None of this half gummy shit.
All right.
Next up, we have the trailer for the new HBO Max series, House of the Dragon, which is the prequel to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I thought they were doing a super early one, and I'm wanting to think that this is like after the Targaryens or whatever went on to Westeros. Not their first time taking it over, but maybe a more established. I don't know. But it looks really good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and I hope that they can recapture the magic that was Game of Thrones, right? Because obviously I kind of miss it. Yeah. And I don't know. I think that the really, really early prequel got canned.
Yeah.
And they went with this one.
The Age of Heroes or whatever.
Whatever it's
Age
called.
of Legends or something.
I mean, I totally am down for this. I'm ready. Like, I hope that.
Yeah, that was Naomi Watts. Naomi Watts one got canceled.
She had to make that other movie.
Poor woman.
But I mean, it looks good, and I need some more Game of Thrones in my life. So bring it on. Really though, I want to see what's her name is up to on that boat or whatever. I forgot her character's name now.
Arya
Stark. I really want that story. Make that, please, HBO Max.
For real. Next up, we got Don't Worry Baby, starring Florence Pugh, Olivia Wilde, Gemma Chan, Harry Styles, and Chris Pine. So a very stacked cast. Yeah. It looks kind of Stepford Wives and is coming into theaters in September. So I'm very much looking forward to this. The trailer is a very good trailer, but keeps kind of what's actually happening kind of close to the chest. So definitely check that one out.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a fucking mind bender like no other. Plus Florence Pugh. Like... Yes. It's time for her Oscar. And this seems like perfect Oscar bait for her.
Could be.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope so. I'm really interested to see this movie.
I don't understand what's happening with Harry Styles in theaters these days, but.
Why not? I like Harry Styles. I mean, he's a queer champion.
Is he?
No, I don't think he's actually queer, but I mean, he
wears dresses.
He's sort of like non-binary or something. Right?
It's just, I hate going to a movie and then he shows up and all the like 13-year-old girls are screaming. I just don't like it.
Oh, what else was he in?
Like, that's the only reason you are here. Not because of your talent, but because of you're a draw for 13-year-old girls.
I don't think that 13-year-old girls are going to be able to see this movie. It's clearly going to be.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Because the 13-year-old girls are now 18-year-old girls. We'll
just have to watch it at home.
I don't know.
So the last trailer we're going to talk about is a true blast from the past, and Disney Plus is bringing a series based on the movie Willow to its service in November.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
Back in the day.
And they're bringing back like a lot of the original cast, and I loved hearing the music and the trailer, and Val Kilmer is even supposed to be back. And,
what?
Yeah. Well, he was back in Top Gun.
So I didn't know that either.
He used AI to remember his voice, and so he was able to use his voice and act like he can talk and stuff. So I guess they'll do the same thing for Willow. I don't know.
Out of the way, Peck. I saw this movie several times when I was younger and never watched it again, but I liked it when I was a kid.
It's good. It's a good rewatch.
I didn't know that you were that into Willow.
I didn't see it until later. Like I never saw it as a kid. I saw it as a teenager, I think.
Oh.
I was like, this is okay. I like the dark magic stuff in it, and a lot of the cheesy adventure stuff is kind of lame, but it's a fun time. It's George Lucas and Ron fucking Howard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about nostalgia things, I mean, like, I'm glad they're doing something like that I feel like not that many people talk about anymore.
It was one of those dark fantasy movies from the 80s. I mean, they've got this old woman sorceress that's trying to stab a baby to death and then gets struck by lightning. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I forgot all that. Yeah, but I'd watch this, I guess. I mean, like, I really liked Willow when I was a kid. I just haven't seen it in a very long time. So,
yeah.
But Warwick Davis, my.
It's looking good.
I was not going to say the same thing, but that's okay. That's what makes you a feminist and not me.
Jesus. Shut up, Peck.
Well, I think that just about wraps up our Shooting the Flames for June. As always, we want to know what you have to say about the things that we've talked about, maybe even some of the comments that we read. Leave your own comments. You can do that on social media at The Film Flamers on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.
You can email us at tiredqueens@filmflamers.com or call our hotline at 972-666-7733. Get on my peck.
Don't worry, baby. It's just a peck. Oh my god. We have a lot of content coming out for you in June. We are doing some of the trashiest movies ever made because Wild Things was such a good conversation last June. We decided to keep it up. So we're talking about Basic Instinct and
Showgirls.
Woo!
It's Paul Verhoeven month.
That's right. Verhoeven all over the place. I'm going to put on my Versace and we're going to talk about Showgirls, damn it. So stay tuned for that. And also, we'll probably have a very special Hot Takes episode about some of the movies that we will be watching at the Overlook Film Festival.
That's right.
So, big month.
Well, we need to rest up before we go, so I suggest we go and get some sweet dreams. Some of you haven't pronounced it Versace and shows.
I love that meme. It's Versace.